Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining Witham and Merchant E today. We have a great presentation in store for you all. Before we begin, I just have a few housekeeping items to cover. You will all be on mute during the presentation. However, at the bottom of the toolbar, you will see a chat box. We encourage you to ask questions during the session, which our speakers will answer at the end of their presentation. Please note if your question is for a specific speaker, as we have a few today. This session will also be recorded for future reference, and a link to it will be provided to all attendees. Feel free to share additional thoughts or input after the webinar has wrapped up as well, as your feedback is greatly appreciated. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Christina on the Witham team, who is moderating today's session.
Thank you, Alexis. And thank you to everybody who's attending our webinar today regarding the latest innovations in ERP and payments integration for multi-channel businesses. Our goal today is to demonstrate how you can save time and improve efficiency when true integration exists between receiving and managing multiple payment options within an ERP system. My name is Christina Barea, and I'm part of the management consulting team at Witham. You may be familiar with us as an accounting firm, and Witham is ranked in the top 25 nationally. Today, you're going to meet team members from our advisory practice for technology and digital services, specifically in ERP and cloud services. Our team assists businesses like yours with process optimization, operational efficiency, and technology strategies. Today's conversation is around ERP and payment solutions. And we'll take a quick look at the agenda and the presenters. Thank you so much. So as mentioned, I'm Christina. You'll meet the rest of the team. We'll go through a quick introduction as well as discussing why are we here today around e-commerce models, multi-channel businesses, and payments. And if you'll switch to the next slide, please. Yes, so before we jump into this one, let's understand why does it matter to our businesses about managing payments, omni-channel businesses, and so on. Today's consumer wants more flexibility and security when it comes to providing for payment for services and products. Whether it's in person, at a business location, think brick and mortar, or online, we've grown to expect a seamless experience that is both convenient and accurate. And if businesses can't offer that, then consumers will find another one which does. The challenge for business owners is to be in the position to offer the best customer experience across multiple devices and/or locations with easy behind-the-scenes financial tracking. The CFOs we speak to always mention that reconciliation is one of the biggest challenges they face. The good news is that we've moved away from siloed solutions requiring manual reconciliation processes and which lack real-time syncing into ERP to fully integrated and efficient solutions which facilitate automatic reconciliation, flexible payment processing, including recurring billing with a truly integrated system. Our maturity model, which you see before you, talks about the evolution of business. Of course, we all know the brick and mortar offline sales where we were all pretty much many years ago. With the developments in technology and enhancements, we've grown through an evolution into more sophisticated resources, including online sales that are now data-driven and in many cases automated with chatbots, and eventually for fully integrated and forward-thinking technology leaders all the way into AI, advanced selling models, including bots and support automation that lead to fully hands-off experiences. So what we're seeing here is with more businesses moving into an advanced and a more sophisticated approach to doing business, engaging with customers and providing and delivering their services and products, the dependency is for consumers to be more used to or accustomed to this type of engagement and expect it more and more from our businesses. So on the back end, what happens is that we need to learn how to move away from legacy systems, siloed systems that don't speak efficiently to each other, into more integrated systems that can move quicker, provide more real-time results and information and data for informed decision making, as well as a seamless experience for our consumers. So what we're presenting today when we discuss the integration of a fully integrated ERP system with a payment solution like Merchant E, NetSuite and Merchant E combination, is that we're moving away from siloed software that requires manual intervention in order to reconcile payments, reconcile orders, make sure that we're tracking correctly, that we are batching out correctly at the end of the day, and that we have real-time visibility into inventory statuses as well as delivery logistics and so on. Moving into a compelling software combination that can quickly share information across departments, thus making operations efficient and accurate. So basically, we're not solving anymore for a specific financial process or operation, but rather accelerating a process, making it more efficient, accurate, and timely. With that said, I'd like to introduce Wendy, so she will talk through the different multi-channel omni-business channels that we have.
Thank you, Christina. Hi, everyone. My name is Wendy. I'm a consultant in the management consulting services team. I bring experience in Salesforce Commerce Cloud and NetSuite implementations for clients in retail, consumer goods, not-for-profit, and finance industries. So yeah, now let's look at a single, multi, and omni-channel. If we go to the next slide and understand their differences. We'll start with the single channel commerce. When you sell your products through a single sales channel, such as brick and mortar store, you're doing single channel commerce. And there are benefits of single channel commerce if we have limited resources, but more likely you'll face more business challenges related to consumer acquisition and conversion because of the competitors' activities. And as the business grows, you might consider adding sales channels such as website, phone, or social media so that the customer can talk to the support team through website, write the sales team an email, and interact with the company through Facebook or LinkedIn accounts. But the company will not necessarily be aware of how the customers make contact with the different channels, and that it's because for the multi-channel commerce, which is sitting in the middle of these three models, the different channels are operated in a decentralized manner. This could be challenging for a business to maintain customer relationship when there's no good people, process, data, and technology in place for the business. Omni-channel commerce, which is the third chart that we're seeing on the right side, is the ultimate goal of the commerce model. And it's probably one of the most popular buzzwords you've heard recently. Omni-channel is the next level of multi-channel because everything, including people, process, data, and technology, which is a pain point in the multi-channel model, it's fully integrated for you and the customer. If something happens in one channel in the omni-channel commerce model, you're likely to see the issue through the other channel, and you'll know about it by looking at one centralized location that provides you customer data and metrics. And for the customers, everything integrates to provide a seamless shopping experience, which will boost their loyalty to the brand and as well as like motivate their return purchase behaviors. Looking at these three common commerce models, when you apply the maturity model that Christina just mentioned and supporting business to grow through each stage, jumping from single to multi or multi to omni will require different levels of investments in people, process, technology, and data aspects of your business. Well, now ask yourself, where do you see your companies fit in these three categories? And oftentimes, small business owners and some enterprise level organizations will grow from single channel commerce to and fall into the multi-channel commerce model, but moving and fall into the multi-channel commerce model. Moving towards a true omni-channel commerce category requires a lot of investment, and a lot of businesses will ultimately choose to be somewhere in the middle which is what we're seeing here in the multi-channel commerce. But there could be steps and phases to help you to get to the omni-channel in the long run. Well, now let's bring in payment experience in the next slide as an example to understand the single and multi-channel models further. We have summarized some popular payment types on the right-hand side, categorized in the online and offline environments. In a single channel commerce, the payment experience is often simple. The business accepts a specific type of payments, such as face-to-face. And as the business grows into multi-channel commerce, different payment types need to be added to support channel selling. But the complexity of adding channels and payment types brings inconsistent payment experience to the customers, just like the challenge we mentioned in the multi-channel commerce model. For example, customers may feel confused that ACH payment is supported in one channel but not in the other, and the business will have to handle different processes if different payment vendors are selected for these different types of channels. And when it comes to selecting and integrating payment tools, there are common challenges and success factors that you should consider. And now I'm going to pass it to Melanie, who's also a consultant in the management consulting services team, to go through the tips to ensure a smooth payment integration for your business.
Thank you so much, Wendy. I'm just going to touch on some points if we could get to the next slide here. Some of the challenges, and then we'll move to the successes. So my name is Melanie Saunders. I'm a consultant on the Management Consulting Services team. My background is actually in web and software development. I enjoy working with UX, UI, and designing seamless experiences for users, along with functional processes for businesses. I've previously worked with large and small-scale marketing and rebrand campaigns for clients across the country on the creative, technical, and functional aspects of projects. So our next talking point, the common challenges that are faced when it's time to integrate the solution. As you can see here, when the customer is going strictly to one channel and one payment, it's a pretty simple path. When we move into the multi and omni-channel, the issues and challenges really have potential to arise. But if we take some foresight before implementation, we can ensure that we're on a path to success. Lack of an integrated ERP system like NetSuite to manage the multi-channel payments can lead to a lot of confusion and frustration for both the customer and businesses right from the beginning. What a business doesn't want to see happening are the processing activities that are attempting to complete to be stuck in a silo, to pile up, and it just ends up leading to more manual work for the business or even possible duplication of attempts to resolve the issue just to get a single payment to go through. This is the same for recurring billing. By implementing an ERP solution and an up-to-date payment processor like Merchant E, the business receives their valuable time back and the system takes care of the rest seamlessly. And the last challenge that be one of the biggest is the limitations on the type of foreign currency and transactions and the specific types of payments that the system can accept. But by integrating an ERP like NetSuite and a processor like Merchant E, that worry is pretty much non-existent, as we'll see in the next slide. So now we'll talk about the success factors. I feel personally like all of these points are equally as important because they're all very valuable and conducive to how successful your multi to omni-channel business can be. First of all, setup is very quick and very easy. We have teams that can assist at any level of the process and tailor to your specific needs as a business. After we've gone through the setup, the payment integration platform is so easy for everyone involved to use, right from the business employer and employees down to the customer that's actually going through the transaction. You'll find that the pricing is affordable and flexible, being able to meet the business needs while also keeping your budgets down as your business scales and your needs change and grow. Flexibility here is very important. And as an owner, you'll have visibility and control over the processes. So if there are any issues that arise, or if you just feel like looking at your growth and success, it's right at your fingertips. And lastly, before I pass it back to Christina, I do want to go back to how flexible the payment integration can be while working with the business ERP system and just how supportive our teams can be and will be when you decide to make the switch to a new platform or level up your current solution.
Thanks so much, Melanie. So to wrap things up, it sounds like on this section before we go into a demo. So what we're experiencing here is we know our businesses are interested in providing a great experience for our customers. That's an assumption that we're all going to have. And we want to find an efficient and investment worthy that makes sense for us as we move through the maturity model from the model that we had previously into accepting additional channels and additional payment methods for our clients. So we know that this is important. The challenge a lot of businesses have or business owners have is how to manage that information. How do they manage their inventory? How do they manage their sales orders? How do they manage those inbound payments that they're receiving and match them to maybe an open invoice or to an open sales order and keep track of everything, make sure that there's nothing that's falling between the cracks? And that's a very big question that everybody has. Fortunately, we have Trishelle here with us today. She's going to walk us through what that would look like in a scenario where we have NetSuite as the core ERP that's tracking our inventory, it's tracking our sales orders and so on, and using Merchant E as the payment processor that's capable of accepting a variety of different payment methods and the different tools that we have available to ask for payment or to process a payment on site if we're in front of a person. So over to you, Trishelle. Thank you. We can't hear you.
Good morning. Thank you for that introduction. My name is Trishelle, and I am with Merchant E. I have been part of Merchant E for 16 years. I have been working specifically with our NetSuite application for 7 years. So I do have a lot of experience in the payment processing application. So what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to go ahead and I am going to share my screen here, and we're going to do a demo. So hopefully you guys can all see my screen. Okay.
I think we're good.
Okay. So with that, let me just get this moved over here. So with that, what I'm going to do here is we are going to walk through our NetSuite application. And with that, so what I'm going to do here today is we're going to look at how the Merchant E application works within NetSuite and how we actually can process through an application called Pay by Link. So what this does is the Pay by Link will allow you to set up a quote, a sales order, an invoice, and put a link on there so your customers can make a payment without you having to touch anything. So for the demonstration, we're going to start with how you would do this with a quote. So we'll bring up the quote, and I am just going to bring up a customer, and we'll get this set up. It's going to be very simple. So however it is that you would normally set up your quotes or your sales orders is going to work exactly the same way, since this is fully integrated into the NetSuite application. And because we are doing this as a quote, I'm going to make sure that I've got my invoice link configuration set here so that it will put this link onto this quote for us. Put my product in here, and then we're just going to save. Okay, so once I've actually got that on there, what is going to happen now is once I save this, it's going to create a link between this quote and the Merchant E hosted payments page, which would allow your customer then to just click the link and make that payment. All right, so with this done, we've got our confirmation. I'm going to print this quote. And as you can see here, we have at the bottom a click here to pay now. This is just an HTML code that is put on the invoices and order forms within NetSuite. You can make this look however you want. So all your customers have to do is click that link, and it takes them to this. Okay, let's try that one more time. Bear with me for just a moment. Don't know why it just, I've got to go in and I've got to set this up. So bear with me for a second. And I just did another demo, so I do apologize. This should not have happened. It just made it so that I need to go in and reset this. And we'll do this. Come on. All right, so let's go back to our quote and let's try this again. All right. All right, so here on our quote, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to refresh this link just because of it didn't like that link I put on here. So we'll refresh this and we'll go ahead and we'll click that link again. And normally this is not something that would normally happen with a normal merchant account. It's just my account as being a demo account. It does not like some of the things that I do. All right. All right, so let's go one more time and we will print this again. Let's link. Okay, so this is where you would be taken to. On this page, your customers do have the ability to set up an account. By setting up an account, they would be able to store their credit card information or bank information if you have this set up for ACH. If they don't want to set up an account, they can choose to check out as a guest. And it's just a matter of simply clicking as checkout as a guest. Now, you also have the ability to set up this application so your customers can do like partial payments, and that's why you would have an enter amount here. We're going to walk through this whole process directly out of NetSuite so you can see kind of how it would follow this process by doing that link. So once your customers make that payment through that link, it's going to record that here in NetSuite and it will create a sales order from this quote. And with that sales order, it will also create that customer deposit. So now that we have this sales order here, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to put my payment in here because this is kind of how it's going to react when they do this through that link. So we'll go into billing and we're just going to create our payment here. And I'm going to choose a card that's already stored on this account. I do have this set up so that it will go through whichever option you want it to go through. I'm going to put in the 3-number security code off of that card. And I'm going to change my payment operation to a sale because as a customer deposit, it is actually going to charge that card. I'll make sure my handling mode is set to process so that we can see this go through. And at this point, it's creating that customer deposit, which is the same thing it would do once that payment goes through and our script runs to create, bring that payment back here into NetSuite. So once that is done, you have now your sales order where you can fulfill your sales order. And this would be the same process that you would do after that pay by link. So we'll just fulfill this order. And because we do have that customer deposit associated to it, once we fulfill this order, it will apply that order. Once we bill it, it will apply it directly to the invoice that we're going to create. So we'll go ahead and just save this, mark this as fulfilled. Now, when I bill this, it will create the invoice. Okay, and then I'm just going to save. Now, everything that we have walked through on this is automatic. I just wanted to make sure everybody was walking through this whole process to see what it looks like. Let's go ahead and let's try saving this again. Okay. So as this is updating, what it is doing now is it is taking that customer deposit and it is applying it to this invoice. So we can see now as we save this, it does show as paid in full. All right, so nothing that you guys have to worry about once somebody clicks on that link and makes the payment. So if they did this through where you just put the link on an invoice, once the customer makes that payment, the script runs, it would do the same thing as mark that invoice as paid in full. It would do the same thing with if you did this on a sales order. So you could do this from any form within NetSuite. You also can do anything that you do within NetSuite, whether it's taking an authorization on a sales order, whether it's making a payment on an invoice, everything that you do within NetSuite will work with the Merchant E payment processing application because we are integrated into the NetSuite application. So you could do recurring billing, you could do your authorization just from your sales orders, but anything that you do, any payment that you take here, we have it set up to where everything will filter into your undeposited account within NetSuite. And with that, what we will do with that undeposited account and all of those is we set up a reconciliation for you. So you will be able to see what batch numbers and deposit dates that go with those batch numbers. So we'll look at that now. And if we take a look at this, we'll go in and we'll see that payment that we just did today. Okay, so here we can see that this is the payment that we just did, this $1.46. So it's in here at 9 p.m. Pacific time every night. All of the transactions that you process during the day will automatically batch out. So when you come in the next day, you're going to see all of the information that's over here to the right filling in. This is what you will see. So what you're going to get is you're going to get the batch number that goes to those transactions, an anticipated date of deposit. You will get a settled amount, you will get a settlement date, and you will get a discrepancy amount if there is one within that transaction. Once the deposit has been done, then you will see this deposit amount fill in. So when you're ready to go in and reconcile, you're going to take your batch number from this batch number column and put it right here into your filter box. And when we click outside that, it's going to filter everything out but the transactions in that batch. So when I select all here, it changes my payments amount from 0 to the total dollar amount of that batch. And this total dollar amount should match exactly to what was deposited into your account, the date that we show here. Once that's matched, all you have to do is make sure that your account information up here is set to the correct account that it should be deposited to here in NetSuite. Make sure that you have your date here showing as the date that you actually received those funds, and then save this. That will do the deposit for you here in NetSuite. So when you get your bank statement at the end of the month, it is going to match deposit for deposit, date for date. And that is going to make your reconciliation so much simpler. Now, along with these applications, these two applications that I have shown you so far, we are also always working to improve our products to make things better for our merchants. So we are getting ready to roll out a few new features. One of those new features will be a recurring billing that will work directly within NetSuite. We're also working on an auto pay application, and we are also working on being able to do surcharging within the invoice link here within NetSuite. Some of the other benefits that you get with Merchant E, especially talking about those omni-channel merchants, is any merchant that has like a third-party website, you can have that website connected to the Merchant E gateway. So you can do your pre-authorizations through your website and then be able to import that and create those records here directly within NetSuite. So then that way, if you're doing a pre-authorization, you can pre-authorize in the website, import that into NetSuite, create that sales order, do all of your fulfillment, and then the capturing of that authorization directly out of NetSuite. So it keeps all of your AR stuff in one easy place for you guys to find. We are, like I said, we are always working to make things simpler and better for you, and that is one of the ways that we can make your omni-channel processing work. And I am now going to go ahead and pass this back on to Witham. Thank you guys so much for joining.
Thank you so much, Trishelle. That was very informative. I'd like to ask if maybe you can keep your screen up on the NetSuite portal. Mm-hmm. Specifically on, if it's okay, one of the screens where you have your transactions coming through. There's a couple of things that I think are really important for business owners who are operating in a multi-channel environment that we reiterate here and demonstrate further with your screen sharing. And one of them is, in the past, this process has typically been you're managing your inventory and your transactions has been done potentially on an existing ERP system that you've been using, and with a separate siloed payments processor. What we've been demonstrating today is how the two of them can be fully integrated into each other instead of processing information real time, so that you have full visibility into statuses and of inventory levels, as well as where your payments are, what's outstanding, and so on. So NetSuite is a very robust ERP and has a lot of capabilities in it. We know that there are a lot of apps that are capable of connecting to NetSuite ERP as well as other ERP systems to provide operational efficiency, as well as supporting in different business areas that we may need. So, but the challenge is, how do we get that information quicker, faster, and more accurately? So whenever we have to share data from one platform to another, and we call those siloed information repositories, when we have to do a manual intervention to share that information across channels to keep them updated, such as what you might see in an e-commerce platform as it relates to an ERP database, then we have an inherent built-in delay of communication. And so the point we were trying to make at the beginning of this presentation is, well, as our customers become more sophisticated, bigger, better, faster, then we need to find more efficient ways to ensure that we are giving accurate quotes as to stock availability. We also need to have better ways of managing information. If there's a call-in on a status of an account, did my payment go through? How many payments are outstanding on an aging list? This information is critical for a CFO in order to maintain and have visibility into the status of their business and their assets. So what we're showing here today is how NetSuite and Merchant E have come together to provide a truly seamless experience for businesses who are handling high volume of transactions and need to have that information and those answers faster. So I don't know if it's possible to go back to Trishelle. I'm seeing myself right now, and show that screen, because it really is powerful to see that happen.
Yes, so with what she's talking about, where you actually may be doing like an e-commerce site, where you're bringing that in under, you can see those if you're just going into your sales and listing your sales orders. You should be able to see immediately anything that is brought into NetSuite from that third-party application that you use. So you can quickly come in and see what you have that's sitting here that's outstanding, that may need to be the pending approvals or fulfilled. You should be able to see all of that instantly. When you go in and you bring up that order that is from that third-party site, and you're just viewing on that order, you should be able to see what exactly is on that order, where it is in the process, whether it's at the fulfill stage, if it's at the approval stage, if it is ready to be billed, so because it has already been fulfilled. You should be able to see all of that directly in NetSuite just by going to any of your reports that you use. And then you should be able to bring up like that sales order if that's what you're creating, to where you can have easy access to it. Now, as I had said before, anything that you are doing, even outside of NetSuite, if you are bringing it in, especially if it has to do with credit card payments, as long as when you are bringing that into NetSuite, you are bringing that in and you are creating like a payment event for any of these payment records, and you would see that in here. All of these will be part of that reconciliation bundle that I was telling you about or showing you here just not too long ago. And if you would like, I can go ahead and let's go back and take a look at that make deposit report, just because that is a good spot for you to see everything that you have processed during the day that you are going to get ready for payments for. And it will show you anything that has come in from that third-party application that you have done directly out of NetSuite. It will literally just show you everything you have done during that day. And if I come in here, there's also a way that you can see if those transactions came from a third-party website, if they were imported in here, or if they were created just directly in NetSuite by this payment method. So you can see here on my payment method, I have a lot of these that are showing as a link to pay. That would be somebody used that link of ours that was on an invoice or on a sales order to make a payment. You can also see I have some payment methods here with just Visa or MasterCard. Those would be transactions that are run directly out of NetSuite. I should have in here some that are actually set up ACH. So you can see your ACH. You also have the ability to do a card swipe or even an EMV transaction. You can see that right here as this Visa card on file. It would usually be marked as a card swipe, but it is a swipe transaction. So you can see all of the different payment methods. You can see what payment records or invoices or cash sales or refunds that they are attached to right directly here in just your make deposit. And that would be anything that is the most current processed during that same day, or maybe 2 or 3 days prior, just depending on how soon you do your deposits from here. What else can I show you that might help with this? Anything else, Christina, that you would like to show?
I think this is very good. What I just want to continue to emphasize is that integration of managing payments and the invoices. So bridging that gap between what's sitting inside of the data that's inside of the ERP, whether it's stock, open orders, and the triggers that can be generated. So remember, we're talking about volume. If we don't have volume, then there might not be a compelling reason to make a change, right? But if we're getting into volume transactions and we have a lot to manage, and so that's the case as our selling environment becomes more complicated and we're reaching out to different profiles of clients and we have to have different types of interactions, how do we ensure that everybody's getting the best experience possible by ensuring that they're getting accurate quotes on what's available for shipping? These processes might be triggering, for example, a logistics notification as well that says there's an estimated time or a date for your product to be delivered to you, or that actual transaction may trigger a purchasing order on the back end as well to replenish stock supplies and so on. So kind of repeating myself here, but the real value of this I see is, one, being able to process all of these payments, have real insight as to the types of payments that are being processed, batching those out at the end of the day, and not having to transfer them over manually into your ERP system, but it all happening automatically with instant visibility. And then the back-end triggers that the ERP is managing to maintain that seamless delivery experience, whether it's your services, your products, and so on, and being able to ensure that the full customer cycle is being protected, and that we are efficiently managing complex scenarios in multiple channel environments. So I think we were able to demonstrate that. At this point, maybe we can pause and take some questions. Okay, so there is one question regarding moving into omni-channel. So maybe we can go back to the either the maturity slide or the first one that Wendy presented. Perfect. Yeah, so the question is, does every business have to move into the omni-channel model? Well, no, not really. Your business model is going to be unique to you, depending on what you're delivering and who your clients are. So it's not the same conversation necessarily to have B2B or as it is to have B2C. And so some businesses may choose to only operate in one. We would call these a distribution or a sales channel versus another, and some may eventually move into becoming an omni-channel experience. But we do know that the dependency on mobile devices really does change the landscape a little bit. Even if we are primarily a brick and mortar single location, there is still a movement towards mobile devices in a more complex way. Clients want to, or customers would like to know, do you have 20 pieces of XYZ that I'm interested in purchasing available? And nobody wants to get that email at the end of the day that says, yeah, we took your order, but sorry, we actually are low on stock, and so that's going to have a delay. So we have become accustomed to accurate and efficient information, and so this is just one method of solving the complexity of a multi-channel and leading into that omni-channel experience.
Yeah, and if I may add to that, when it comes to doing like an omni-channel type processing, a lot of times you will have where you will have one processor for say your in-person transactions and one processor for your e-commerce. With Merchant E, you can process all of those different types of your omni-channel commerce with the one processor. And because we are the processor and the gateway, that leaves you with just the Merchant E when it comes to any of your processing that you have to go to, as opposed to using both a gateway and then a processor on the back end.
Yes, thank you. And let's see. The other question was, do we have to have NetSuite as a backend in order to use Merchant E's services?
No.
Okay.
You don't. I mean, it's always if you have something there, Merchant E can work with other applications as well, which is why I say you can do your e-commerce and do NetSuite at the same time, or just the e-commerce if you weren't ready to integrate that in yet to your ERP.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not seeing any other questions pop up here. So I think we'll pause at this point and certainly thank everybody for their time and insight. Wendy, really appreciate you walking us through the different commerce types and channels, and Melanie for your experience and how that payments process and the experience overall for a customer is valuable. And if we can move to that last slide, please, offering how we can help. Then we'll wrap it up with just saying, with Management Consulting Services, our ERP team is very knowledgeable about helping businesses become more efficient. We do a lot of studies and assessments and work with our business owners to become more efficient so we can work with process optimization. We typically do an engagement through the lens of the customer journey. What happens from the time the customer begins to engage with a business and goes through the different steps of transacting. And so we can map out those processes and look for ways to improve it, either implementing new technology or improving a process in itself. So technology integration, of course, we have a long menu of apps that we work with that can help improve visibility into your entire cycle from a sales order or an invoice into delivery of product of service. And as I mentioned before, we do those through tech assessments where we evaluate where the current state of a customer is or a client is, and align that with what their future looks like. What are the goals that they're trying to achieve in terms of growth, in terms of experience, in terms of technology? And we help to map out solutions and options for them to evaluate to begin that journey towards modernization. So we'd love to have the opportunity to speak with you further about that. Feel free to give any one of us a call or to reach out to us via email, and our contact information is going to be shared at the end or at the bottom of this presentation. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time today. Thanks, Rochelle, for the demo.
Yep, thank you.